branches. I then for 10 years, I was missile operations for uh, 10 years. Well, missile operations for about 4 years with the Titan II missile system. Then that system deactivated, and I cross-trained into the services career field. Services career field for you Air Force folks, you're familiar with the dining facilities, dormitory management, billeting, and so forth. That was my area. I was first introduced to services with the food service officer at Little Rock Air Force Base. I was overseeing 5 dining facilities and then transitioned into from food service, also worked mortuary affairs as an additional duty. Now, I really went into the Air Force to travel, so I spoke with my resource advisor and was able to get an assignment to Athens, Greece, and was uh, manning the Apollon Hotel in Athens. We had a 264-room resort property over there in Athens, and it was an incredible opportunity to uh, travel, to get some visibility in a really high occupancy hotel. Uh, and after that particular assignment, I went to Crete, Heraklion Air Station, and was the chief of services over all of the services operation. And because of my uh, position in Athens as hotel manager, I got bitten by the hospitality bug and was actually contemplating getting out. And I got out of the Air Force and went to hotel school in Switzerland. And I attended the Hotel Institute in Montreux, Switzerland for about a year and a half. I did an internship in Zurich, Switzerland. And after that, started working with the American Hotel and Lodging Association. And I spent 20 plus years with the American Hotel and Lodging Association, ironically, working with the military, uh, folks that I had worked with while I was in the Air Force. Uh, Most recently, fast forwarding quite a bit here, most recently I was with the Hilton Grand Vacations here in Orlando, Florida. Now, if you're not familiar with Hilton Grand Vacations, they do the vacation ownership, and my role was called transfer agent. And I spent about a year with Hilton Grand Vacations. And I will say for anyone who's interested in sales, transactional sales, it's a great opportunity with Hilton Grand Vacations. Uh, if you're if you have the stomach for it, I would say, because it is vacation ownership, which is timeshare. And my role was, as a call transfer agent, was to field incoming calls from clients and basically sell them vacation packages. And during that vacation that they were going to be taking, which was a 4-day, 3-night typically, they would be required to sit for a timeshare meeting anywhere from 2 hours typically for the meeting. And so I will say to anyone, if you're interested in transactional sales in the vacation ownership arena, great opportunities. It's not for everyone because you hear no quite a bit. You get a lot of folks who are resistant to timeshare for many, many reasons. It's not for everyone, but many people do take advantage of it. So I guess right now I'll turn it over to, I see Jordy is, I'm not sure if Jordy's online here, but turn it over to Jordy. And
Hey Alfonso, Jordy's not on here right now, but I'm Kylie and I am here. So sorry about that little miscommunication. Thank you so much for coming on and
All right.
chatting. I'm not sure, did you already introduce yourself? Can you guys hear me?
Yes, we hear you.
Yes,
Okay.
Callie.
Alfonso, can you hear me? Okay, I guess not.
He already introduced himself.
Okay,
Okay.
there's my audio, and I can hear you all now. So if I missed any questions, feel free to reach back out to me here. I can hear you now.
Yeah, thank you, Alfonso. Sorry, Jordy was not able to make it, so sorry about that miscommunication. But
Okay.
I'm Kylie, and I'm here to hang out with you for a little bit. I didn't catch your intro, um, but does anybody have any questions for Alfonso so far? If not, Alfonso, if you didn't include in your intro, could you kind of tell us about your journey and how you got where you're at? If you already said that, I apologize.
No worries. I'll brief recap. I was 10 years active duty Air Force, worked in missile operations, transitioned from missile operations into the services career field, managed hotel in Athens, Greece for about a year and 10 months or so, moved down to Heraklion Air Station in Crete, Greece, and was chief of services. Got out of the Air Force, went to Switzerland for hotel school in Switzerland. It was the Hotel Institute in Montreux, Switzerland. And as part of that training, was working at the Borlaug Hotel in Zurich. And after graduation from the school, I went to the American Hotel and Lodging Association and worked for the bulk of my civilian career, about 21 years, with the American Hotel and Lodging Educational Institute. So that's pretty much in a nutshell uh, my hospitality careers. Now, I also worked various jobs. I worked with ADP as a project manager. I worked with Hilton Grand Vacations most recently, which I just shared that I was a call transfer agent. And complete transparency at this point, I'm sort of contemplating whether I want to just maybe do some consulting on the side. And so that's kind of my path there. I will say now, many of you on the phone call here would have imagined you're transitioning from Air Force or transitioning from the military into the civilian sector. Is that pretty much the
Yes, so almost everybody in this call is a transitioning veteran. They're all anywhere in between 1 and 6 months away from being out of whatever military service they're in.
Okay. And so, Kylie, give me a kind of a nutshell. This was my first rodeo with Seven Eagles. So, give me a kind of a nutshell of what are some of the career interests of the group, or feel free to reach out and chat or,
Yeah, I'd love for everybody to interact. Everybody drop your career in the chat just so Alfonso can get a little idea of what you guys are interested in. And again, Alfonso, it is a little bit more organized, so sorry about that, but
no worries.
um, it looks like we have a lot of project management, some logistics, supply chain, plumbing, lots of IT, dentist, customer service. So we have a pretty wide variety. I'd like to ask the first question. You talked about going to a school in Switzerland right out of the military.
Mhm.
How is that the service industry different over there? Did you learn a lot different things there than you did in your training in America?
Well, at the time, yes, I did. At the time, the Swiss have a reputation of being very hands-on, very meticulous. It's a very exclusive hospitality environment. So I wanted to feel that and to bring that experience back to the United States. So that was my reason for going to the hotel and school in Switzerland. And completely honest, I was very captivated with Europe while I was
Mhm.
there in Athens. I traveled quite a bit while in the military, so I wanted to stay in Europe for as long as I could. But uh, made my way back to the United States after the school there and had a very good opportunity with the American Hotel and Lodging Association. The school definitely gave me some incredible experiences, opened a lot of doors, a lot of good networking. And so, yeah,
Yeah, yeah, something like that is hard to pass up, so I don't blame you. You stayed for 21 years, so it worked out great, it seems.
yeah.
Sean, go ahead.
Hey, thanks for your time, Alfonso. Doesn't necessarily apply to me, but I know there's quite a few people that come through the academy or are on here that are still in their last duty station overseas. I was
Mhm.
just curious how you went about going to school in Switzerland, if you did it all on your own, if you used the Air Force at all to get into that school, or how that transition from finishing up in the Air Force to going to school overseas was.
Great question, Sean. I actually was at the Oak Club with my boss when I was around the last couple of months that I was active duty. And we were talking about, I'd already mentioned to him that I was planning on getting out. I, at the time, I don't know if you all remember, back in we're talking in the early 90s, they offered voluntary incentives for the officers at that time to get out of the Air Force, and it was pretty lucrative. So because I was bitten by the hospitality bug, I wanted to get out of the Air Force. So I mentioned to my commanding officer that I wanted to get out. He says, "Well, if you want to get out and stay in hospitality, why don't you just maybe go to school, a hotel school or something like that?" And I said, "Oh, that sounds great. I wonder if there's something here in Europe that I can take advantage of." And he said, "Yeah, the Swiss hotel schools are the best, and they do have some that offer curriculum in English. You would have to learn French and a little German and a little Italian." I said, "Well, I can do that. I can do anything at 28 years old, 29 years old, I can do anything." So that's kind of how it came about, speaking with my commanding officer. And then I just did the research and looked at hotel schools in Switzerland that had curriculums in English primarily. And there was that one. There were a few in England, but I wanted primarily Switzerland. So that's kind of how it happened. Did I answer your question, Sean?
Yeah, the cool, uh, cool that the skipper was on board with you, helping you out and making that transition. So thanks for the
Yeah.
info.
And that's the key. I would say be completely transparent. If you've made the commitment to go into civilian sector, talk to the folks right now while you're still on active duty. Let them know that you are looking to transition. I'm sure transition assistance teams have, really evolved since I was in active duty. And so you've got resources that you can actually, you know, at your fingertips to access and, take full advantage of. I would guess. And the main thing is communicate your wants and needs and make that happen as quickly as possible.
Absolutely. Thank you.
Mhm.
Yeah, great question, Sean. Tyler, go ahead.
Morning, Alfonso. How are you?
Hey, good morning, Tyler. Doing great.
Apologies, we didn't have someone here to intro you. I feel really bad about that, but I wanted to say a couple things. I feel really thankful that you are here with us today and mentoring this group. It means a lot to me. And I have a business question for you.
Sure.
So I don't think that there's a position in the military that is like client relationship management. So
Mhm.
I'd be curious if you could share kind of what a day in the life as a client relationship manager, like kind of a day in your life. What is it like?
Well, and I don't know if you caught the earlier part of what I do. I was the with Hilton Grand Vacations, my most recent job,
Mhm.
which I'm no longer with. I was the
Gotcha.
yeah,
I missed that part.
Okay. Yeah. So I was called transfer agent, and I was taking incoming calls from folks who were booking vacations and had questions about their vacations and things like that, their cruises. And so they'd be transferred over to me for me to essentially sell them a vacation package to and the goal was to get them a vacation ownership meeting and to eventually ultimately buy a timeshare.
Gotcha.
And so that was kind of what I did with Hilton. Now, client relationship management, I could speak to that. Uh, in all of the roles that I've had, and I'm looking at my other screen and I'm looking at all of the jobs that I've had while in the Air Force, while out of the Air Force, and I've had about 18 jobs,
Wow.
essentially within, you know, with the American Hotel and Lodging Educational Institute. I had various positions starting as a training consultant, and I actually went back out to the military operations, and they actually had a program, a training and development system that included certification and training materials for the hospitality industry because Air Force, they wanted to mirror how the hospitality industry worked in the civilian sector. And so my timing was perfect. I started as a consultant going out to uh, introduce those programs, show how the programs can be implemented at the different bases. I then went from training consultant to marketing manager and consultant, senior sales manager, then went to the international side of sales with the American Hotel and Lodging Association. We also had governmental entities, so I worked with state relations and educational programs, and then Senior Director of Industry Sales, which was my last role, which is primarily dealing with the Hilton corporates, the major hotel, excuse me, the major hotel company, senior leadership, making sure that they are aware of the certifications as well as the training programs that we offered through the American Hotel and Lodging Association. And once you get out, and if you are into the hospitality industry at all, you will come across certifications or information or training programs from the American Hotel and Lodging's Educational Institute. Uh, Serve Safe is one of the popular programs that they have for service. The National Restaurant Association purchased the American Hotel and Lodging's Educational Institute. So they merged. So the National Restaurant Association is now the parent company for the educational arm of the American Hotel and Lodging's uh, American Hotel and Lodging Educational Institute. If that makes any sense. I know it all makes sense in my head because I lived it.
Yeah, you live it. Like that's a lot of different. Was there? I'll just be quick on this one because we got a couple. But are all those jobs somewhat like? Was there a lot of similarities between the different roles?
There were various similar for my, specifically for me, lots of similarities. It I'll tell this to everyone. Be an expert in your field. Learn, for anything involving um, training and I say to any former military member, you're familiar with the concept of training, whether it's training to shoot a gun, whether it's training to cook, training to fly a jet or fly a missile. Training is the key. Grasp everything you can when you transition into the civilian sector. You know, be very, very focused on training and what that new role will entail, because that will lead you into a lot of different pathways to sales, to marketing, to customer relations. And I'll say this as well, customer relations, customer service is not going to be outsourced to a robot. It will not be outsourced to AI primarily. Now, keep in mind that AI has assisted quite a bit, and I'm a big fan of AI, but in my opinion, it will never completely replace speaking to a person or dealing directly with a live human being. So in answer to your question, yeah, lots of similarities. Keep in mind that you absolutely want to embrace any type of training for any type of role that you pursue after your military careers.
Yeah, absolutely. Thanks, Alphonso. I appreciate it.
Mhm.
Thanks for the question, Tyler. Appreciate you. Christopher, go ahead.
Right, good morning, Alfonso.
Morning, Christopher.
Good morning. So when it comes to selling these packages, whether it's for vacations or various other things as a salesman, sometimes it's used through what's called referral networks. What to you is the best way to stick out as the one salesman who makes the sale to the client among all the other competing salesmen?
The biggest thing, Christopher, you got to put your personality into it. I say everyone is a salesperson. We're selling every day. We're selling to our family. We're selling to our kids. We're selling to our spouses. We're selling our ideas, our concepts. Every day we're selling. Uh, the main thing with selling is being transparent, being completely honest, and asking for the sale.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, if you are speaking with someone and you kind of get a feel that they want something at that point, if they want the product that you're talking about, ask it. Hey, Christopher, are you ready? Or would you like to go ahead and make the transaction happen? What can we do? What else would you like to know? Have I answered all your questions about this product? Sales is, especially with when I was with Hilton and at Hilton Grand Vacations, uh, it's highly transactional. The people who succeeded in that role were people who were, I won't say sharks because I don't like using that word, but they were people who, they sales, they lived, breathed, and ate it every day. And, they were really good folks. Uh, there was some really interesting interpretations of uh, the uh, processes for Hilton Grand Vacations and vacation ownership. Uh, and complete transparency, timeshare is not something that I would not personally purchase a timeshare because it wouldn't fit my lifestyle. But there are many people who absolutely travel enough to where they can buy a timeshare. So you have to really believe in a product. Of course, that's one thing. You have to, absolutely uh, be you and put your personality into any type of sales role that you know, you know, you find yourself facing.
Right. Thank you very much.
Mhm.
Thank you, Christopher. Keon, go ahead.
Hi, Alfonso. Thank you for coming on and speaking to us today. I came in during the services squadron, mission support squadron timeframe, so I'm familiar with all that. And now
Okay.
we're force merged together as a force support squadron in the Air Force. So I got a lot of young airmen that are coming up, and they may be getting out and stuff too. So I'm curious, um, what is as far as the hospitality industry goes, what would you say is the biggest difference from the military side of it to compared to like civilian sector?
Yeah, that's an excellent question that I used to answer quite a bit. The biggest difference between service in the military versus service on the civilian sector is in the military, you've got folks who will do what you want, when you say do something, or when you have a task, you have a mission to complete, you typically, and this is just from my experience, we got the work done. Let me go back just for a second to share with you. When I was managing that hotel in Athens, Greece, we had a 264 room resort operation called the Apollon Hotel. That was a large category hotel, and we won the Innkeeper Award. And Keon, I'm not sure if they even do the Innkeeper Award now. I would imagine that they still have something similar. Am I correct?
Yeah, they do. I think it's called more so for the dining facility, like the Hennessy Award and all that stuff.
There's the Hennessy Award, and then for the billeting side, there was the Innkeeper Award. When I was in managing that hotel, we won the Innkeeper Award for all of Europe. Okay, large category. We competed against hotels, military hotels, like the Halakoa over in Hawaii. We had some properties up in Ramstein, up in Germany. So I say all of that to say that there's a lot of similarity between civilian and military hospitality operations. The biggest difference is the motivation of the people you're going to be working with. It's a little bit different working with civilians who have varying degrees of motivation for being there. Showing up. There was in the military, I rarely had issues with folks showing up because they knew that this was their job and this was the mission, and versus the civilian sector where people are taking sick days, they're taking a lot of PTO and they'll push it to the very limit. And so the difference is just personnel you may have showing up, but then that'll depend on your leadership style as far as how to get those people motivated to show up and be productive and be a part of the team.
Copy. Okay. Thank you, sir.
Absolutely.
Appreciate the question. Megan, go ahead.
Hello and good morning.
Good morning,
So
Megan.
my question is, hospitality professionals, right? Like that's your realm, that's your bread and butter. From where you sit though, why are companies or what are companies still getting wrong about the customer service aspect?
Wow, great question. What are companies getting wrong? And what do you mean specifically? I want to make sure I understand it completely.
Well,
What have you
if you go and you read reviews, right? Because there's reviews everywhere.
Mhm.
There's always going to be negatives. But like if I go and I walk into a hotel and I read that it's got 5 stars and then I go into it and then I have poor customer service, like
Mhm.
where's the disconnect there? Why is there still that problem when we've known it for so long?
And Megan, okay, I understand better now. From my experience, and I'm only speaking from my experience, where we are getting it wrong in general in customer service is people. People are the drivers in customer service. And I mentioned just a few seconds ago about uh, people showing up and wanting to serve and the motivation that is there in the military versus the civilian sector. Where we're getting it wrong in the civilian sector, in my opinion, again, the motivation of the people who are in those positions. Um, I'm sure everyone on this call has experienced bad customer service at some location, whether it be in an airport, a hotel, a restaurant. There's been customer service stories I'm sure you could write of how to do it better. So it's all about the people. Now, the other part of that is the training. We can't put it completely on the people. Is that organization, is that company, is that customer service organization training their folks? Do they have a commitment to be very proactive when it comes to satisfying the guest and the customer. So, it's a double-edged sword there. You've got people being in the right positions. Some people shouldn't be in customer service. I will say that. I also say that those people who are in customer service, are they being trained properly to deliver the best possible service?
Yeah,
Did
I
that-
definitely agree with you there. The motivation piece really does play into it, but my background is in training and development. Like that's what I absolutely love. And if a company doesn't have that foundation to provide to their employees, I think that they are going to continue to see that problem. But I just wanted to get your opinion. Thank you so much.
Absolutely.
Yeah, thank you. That was an awesome perspective on that. Olivia, go ahead.
Hey, good morning, Alfonso. Thank you for coming on to give us your, I won't say spiel, but a little hospitality of what you do at Hilton. I have a two-part question. What did you take most from your military experience to help you be successful in the job that you currently hold? And then on top of just piggybacking on the previous question in your statement, how do you train or are you a part of that training element to deliver a consistent service for your team members?
Okay, that's a two-part question. And the first part, as I understand it, say that again, the first part of that question. I want to be accurate.
What did you take from your military experience that has made you successful in your current position? What are the skills, techniques, tips? What is the biggest thing that you've taken from your military service that has helped you to be successful?
I will absolutely say it's discipline. You'll find it once you get out in the civilian sector, the discipline of a military member versus the discipline of a civilian who has no military experience, night and day. Getting up and showing up at work, that's number one. You'd be surprised, or maybe you wouldn't be surprised, at people who just do not care about getting to work 15, 20 minutes on time to get to their workstations and prepare. So discipline, the biggest part of that. That's a carryover. And you all on this call, being military members, you understand the importance of discipline and getting up in the morning, showing up. Those little things, those little intangibles that mean so much when you're in the civilian sector, in my opinion. The other part of that, Olivia asked me that again.
Sure. So how do you train a team to deliver consistent service? So you talked about that's part of the customer service experience from the previous question that you answered. So if you are a part of the element, how do you train teams to deliver consistent service?
How do you train teams to deliver consistent customer service? Absolutely great question. I don't have 3 hours to do that. Because that typically, I have to, as a training consultant with the American Hotel and Lodging Association, I did 4 to 5 hour seminars on training. And at the end of those 4 day sessions, they received a certification. I'll give you the short answer. There has to be a process. There have to be key performance indicators already spelled out by the organizations of what they want to deliver in the way of customer service. Every company, every hospitality company, or any company for that matter, has a mission statement and has a way of doing business that is unique to them. And that culture, that particular way of getting those key elements out to the employees has to be incorporated into any training that they have. And it has to be consistent. Consistent training. I'll just take my experience with Hilton Grand Vacations. A great training. We did about a month of training before we were on a phone call. And that training was learning how to speak with the clients, learning what the product was, learning how to, the repetition, keeping a positive mindset, all of those different things that you have to stay aware of when you're doing any type of training and development for people. And keeping in mind, everyone doesn't learn the same way. So as a person who's facilitating training and development, keep in mind that you've got, say, 15 to 20 or 30 people in a room, or however number, big or small the number may be. Each individual is going to be different. So the message has to be consistent, but the way the message is delivered sometimes might have to be a little, tweaked for a particular individual. Does that make any sense, Olivia?
It does. Thank you.
You're welcome.
All right, next up is Nathan. Go ahead.
Hey, you can hear me?
Mhm.
Good morning. Good morning, first of all. Thank you for going over your experience and answering all these questions. But my question for you is, what skills from your service background did you find yourself using like everywhere, like with the little things in life?
Skills from a service background that I used everywhere:
Yes, sir.
showing up, discipline, wow, talking to people. The biggest, anything civilian versus military, dealing with people. I think I include myself in the military side. We have an advantage because we've seen various situations. We've seen the good, the bad, and the ugly from the military side. And I will tell you, if you can survive just your basic training in military, uh, especially I say my hats off if there are any Marines out there, you guys, you went through an incredible, extensive, intensive training. So I say you could probably handle any civilian situation that could come up. The biggest thing is dealing with people, communicating with people, and not being afraid to share your thoughts and not being afraid to get the feedback that could potentially come back to you. That would be, my answer. And Nathan, I got to ask you, why did they call you Speedy? What's that all about?
So, long story short, there's a story behind every call sign. As a little kid, I wasn't always the fittest little kid. I was on the chubbier side, but I was really
Yeah.
quick.
Yeah.
And so they called me Speedy for that. And then most people cannot pronounce my last name, which is Espethia. So I just kept with, hey, y'all can call me just Speedy. It's okay.
Okay. Cool.
And then it came back into my life when 2021, I was just doing what the typical airman stuff and got caught speeding. And so it came back.
There you go.
Yeah.
Okay. That's your story.
Yes, sir.
Okay. That story goes from military to civilian sector very easily.
Yes, sir.
And yeah, and I say this, in my career, both in the military and the civilian sector, your relationship with people is going to determine how far you go. And you got to have a positive outlook. You've got to be able to speak with anyone. I've been in rooms with presidents and heads of major corporations, heads of state. I've met presidents when I was over in Switzerland. Back then, it was Bush, Bush Senior, Bush Junior. Met some ambassadors that came through the hotel, high-ranking generals. The ability to speak with anyone and speak intelligently and with confidence and have a sense of humor. People are people, and not be afraid, is going to take you a, a long way in a positive way.
Yeah, absolutely. I love. Thank you
Sir,
for
thank you.
mentioning. Thank you for mentioning your story, Nathan. It made me smile. I'm sure someone else too, so appreciate you. Kylie, go ahead. Great name, by the way.
Good morning, Kylie. Good morning, Mr. Alfonso.
Thank you. Good
My
morning.
question for you is what's one lesson from hospitality that applies to any industry?
One lesson in hospitality that applies to any industry is, I'm going to sound like a broken record, compassion for people, patience, uh, listening to people in the hospitality industry, uh, hotel industry. There's going to be a lot of complaints. People are not going to get what they want, when they want it, how they want it, 100% of the time. That's a given. But it's how you deal with those situations as a leader in hospitality that's going to determine, how it gets resolved. A lot of people, in my experience, a lot of people want to be heard. They have a situation, they have a challenge, uh, and they haven't had anyone to listen to them and empathize. A simple thing is, they check into a room and the room is not completely clean as they would like for it to be. Feel that. How would you feel if you were in that situation? So, you have to have a lot of compassion. You have to have a lot of patience, and don't take anything personally. From a service perspective, don't take it personally. People who are venting, people who are ranting and raving potentially about a situation, they're not taking it out on you. You just happen to be the first person that's representing that negative situation that they're able to spew it all over you. But keep in mind, it's not personal. They've had a bad situation and they want to get it off their chest. Listen, just let them go and apologize. Let them know that you too would feel the same way. And here's how we're going to fix it. And then follow up once it's fixed.
Yeah, great way of saying that. I feel like professionals see people kind of at their most stressful time when they're traveling or something like that. So they tend to get the brunt of it, even if it's not on them. Trenton, go ahead.
Good morning, sir.
Good morning.
I'm actually pretty curious. What kind of challenges come up most often with clients? Like, how do you usually deal with them?
Oh, what kind of challenges most come up? I'm thinking about various positions that I've had. The challenges that come up most recently, say, uh, Hilton Grand Vacations. Challenges are could be as simple as people are not interested in a timeshare. Well, I'm not selling you a timeshare. I'm providing you with a 4-day, 3-night vacation where you're required, as part of this incredible deal, to listen to someone tell you about the benefits of vacation ownership slash timeshare. You can choose to accept it or not, but we just want 2 hours of your time, and you're going to get this incredible discount. Um, Challenges, people don't want to buy a timeshare. There are many people who don't want to buy a timeshare or vacation ownership. They've had bad experiences or they've heard bad things about them. That's, yes, absolutely true. Uh, the same can be said for uh, a restaurant. You go into a restaurant, you have a meal, you tell the person about that meal, whether it's good or bad. Depending on the day, you may go in and have the same meal, and it's incredible and it's wonderful, and the service was great. So every individual has their own story. Every individual has their own challenge about life in general. Our experiences are not going to be exactly the same. Uh, so, Trenton, your question is absolutely on point, and it makes me think more and more about all of the different things that I've shared and done in my life. And oh man, I'll tell you a story. Years ago, I had at the hotel in Athens, we had four distinguished visitor suites that faced the ocean. They were about $20 for our DV suites, $20 a night. These are hotel rooms that in a regular civilian hotel, you're going to be paying anywhere from 800 to $1,200 a night. So just to give you an idea, the biggest challenge I had was convincing the generals' wives that they did not have the availability, that we did not have the availability when they wanted it. And the challenges were moving those days around and making sure that they're happy. There was also situations where they had grown accustomed to one of the four suites, and they visited us for many, many years. And there you had to really, really be a diplomat in my role as the billeting officer slash hotel manager. And it's an everyday challenge. So
So dealing with entitlement, essentially.
yes,
There we go.
yes. And again, patience and not taking anything personally. Did I answer your question, Trent?
Absolutely. Thank you. And I liked your story with it. That really kind of culminated together. I appreciate it.
Absolutely. Thank you.
You can tell you've been in the industry a long time, Alfonso. You're very tactful about how you how you describe the situations. James, go ahead.
Well, Alfonso, appreciate you coming out and talk to us today. A little bit of history you've got as a old Missileer, moving on to obviously back in the 90s. So a quick question for you. If you wanted to like be a client relationship management person in today's market, now you've been in the market or this career for many years. You've seen the development and what's needed. If I were to do this now, what would set me up for a good line of success for the future?
As a client relationship manager,
Yes.
what would set you up for success?
Yes, because you got out back in the 90s, things have changed, but you've also been in the change over the years. You've seen what, okay, back in 2009, it worked, but you've also seen how that's evolved. Has that been the same and more relevant, or has there been different paths that we can take to be more successful or marketable as we all transition on the outside?
I would say this, and I am a big advocate. I love technology. I love asking questions. We have at our fingertips today this tool that is so powerful. I would challenge everyone on this call. If you have a question about any particular career path, there are AI sites. My go-to is Perplexity. You can ask Perplexity, what are 20 items that I would need to be successful in this particular career field? And I would guarantee you would be amazed at what would come up. And again, Perplexity is my go-to. A lot of folks use Chat GPT. A lot of folks use Claude or Gemini. I'm stuck on Perplexity because it's so thorough and it's so quick. So that's my cheat code. Um, it's really about research, doing the research. How are you going to be successful in a particular role is going to determine how much work you put into it. That's the bottom line. How passionate you are. What do you want to do? What do you really want to do? And keep in mind what you really want to do today might be different from what you really want to do in the next, say, year and a half, because the world is changing so fast. Does that make any sense at all?
It does for me. It seems like it gives me a good path to go forward and understand which direction I should go for.
AI is your friend. Go on, and you can ask any question. The same question you asked me, ask Perplexity, but quantify it by saying, list 10 or 20 or however many uh, bullets you wanted to use, 10 steps to being successful in this particular career field, and list the career field that you're thinking of. And it can be very general or it can be very specific if you have a specific title that you're looking at.
I appreciate the insight.
Absolutely.
All right, Alfonso. Well, I have just one last question for you. I'd like to know, on the topic of success, what's a mindset about success that's kind of gotten you through your career, in those harder times?
I can do anything. I can do all things. That's my mindset. I will fail. I will learn. I will be successful. Uh, I tell everyone on this call, there are going to be times where you're going to fail. There are going to be times where you're going to say, wow, why did I do that?
Mm-hmm.
But keep going forward. Your military background, you're going to lean on that a lot, because you're going to say, wait a minute, I got through basic training. I could easily get through this situation in this civilian job. It's nothing compared to what I've been through.
Yeah, no, I absolutely agree. I think that's great words to end us off on. Thank you so much again for coming, and I'm so sorry again about the miscommunication when you came on. From all of
No
us at Seven
apology.
Eagle, we really apologize. But thank you for your time, and thank you everybody for the great questions. This was an awesome conversation.
Great questions. I appreciate the time. I didn't really know what to expect, but I could do this every day, all day. I just love talking to folks like this. And I feel, I wish I could be, we could be on this for about another 3 or 4 hours to really dig down deep into what you want to do and how you want to do it. But we're limited as far as time is here, but I wish all of you the best as you transition. If you want to reach out to me on LinkedIn, reach out. And I've got answers here. I can point you in the right directions for any resources you may need. But again, the resources are at your fingertips.
Mhm. Yeah, absolutely. Thank you